It was Christmas Eve, and the city was wrapped in a thin white blanket of falling snow. Streetlights glowed softly, reflecting off icy sidewalks, while distant carol music drifted through the cold air. Shoppers hurried past with gift bags in their hands. Children laughed near a mall entrance, and everything felt warm despite the freezing night. In the middle of that holiday crowd walked an elderly woman dressed in a red coat trimmed with white fur, a matching hat pulled low over her grey hair. To most people, she looked like Mrs Claus brought to life. Her name was Margaret Wilson, a retired schoolteacher who spent every Christmas Eve collecting donations and small gifts for children at a nearby shelter. The canvas bag hanging from her shoulder was heavy with toys, envelopes of cash, and handwritten notes from kind strangers. Her body was tired, but her heart was full. Margaret had no idea she was being watched. Across the street, near a dark alley, 3 young men leaned against a brick wall, laughing loudly and kicking at the snow. Their hoodies were pulled tight, their boots worn and dirty. Christmas meant nothing to them. It was just another night to kill time and look for trouble. When one of them noticed Margaret, his smile twisted into something ugly. "Yo, check this out," he said, nudging his friend. "Mrs Claus herself." Another laughed. "Bet she's carrying cash. Old people always are." The third didn't laugh. He just stared, eyes cold, calculating. Margaret tried to walk past them without making eye contact. She had learned long ago that kindness didn't always protect you. But as she passed the mouth of the alley, a voice called out, sharp and mocking, "Hey, Mrs Claus, where's Santa tonight?" She froze. Slowly she turned. "Please," she said gently, her voice calm but tired. "I'm just trying to get home." Her politeness only made them bolder. One stepped closer and reached for her bag. Instinctively she pulled it back. "These are for children," she said. "Please don't." The first shove came without warning. Margaret lost her balance and fell hard onto the icy ground. The bag slipped from her shoulder and burst open, toys scattering across the snow. A few people nearby stopped walking. They stared for a moment, then kept going. No one wanted trouble on Christmas Eve. Margaret tried to push herself up, her hands shaking, but a heavy boot struck her side. The air rushed out of her lungs. She gasped, pain spreading through her ribs. "Get up!" one of them sneered. "Come on, Mrs Claus, dance for us!" Another kick landed, then another. Her red coat darkened with slush and dirt. Her hat rolled away, exposing her silver hair. She curled inward, trying to protect herself, whispering weakly, "It's Christmas. Please!" The words only made them laugh louder. Somewhere nearby, a cheerful holiday song continued to play, painfully out of place. It felt like the entire world had turned its back. Across the street, a man had stopped walking. He was tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a plain dark jacket and gloves. His face was calm, but his eyes were locked on the alley. His name was Jack Carter. To anyone else, he looked like just another passerby. But Jack was a retired Navy SEAL. He had spent years in places where hesitation cost lives. He was in town visiting family, gifts still sitting in the trunk of his car. When he saw Margaret hit the ground, something inside him snapped. Jack watched for a moment, hoping someone else would step in. When no one did, his jaw tightened. He took off his gloves and dropped them into the snow. Every step he took toward the alley was slow and deliberate. There was no anger in his movements, only certainty. When he finally spoke, his voice cut through the noise like steel. "That's enough." The bullies turned. One scoffed. "Mind your business, old man." Jack didn't answer. He knelt beside Margaret, gently draping his jacket over her shoulders. "You're safe now," he said quietly. As one of the young men lunged forward, Jack reacted instantly. A sharp twist of the wrist, a controlled movement, and the attacker was on the ground screaming. The second rushed in, but Jack sidestepped and swept his legs out from under him. Snow exploded as he fell. The third stepped back, panic flooding his face. This wasn't a normal man. This wasn't a fight. Police sirens wailed in the distance. People began to gather. Phones came out. The bully's confidence vanished completely. Jack stood between them and Margaret, his posture relaxed but unbreakable. He met the third man's eyes and spoke calmly. "You picked the wrong night, and the wrong woman." When the police arrived, Jack helped collect the scattered toys, placing them carefully back into the bag. Margaret looked up at him, tears in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. Jack gave a small nod. No one should be alone on Christmas Eve, but this was only the beginning, because when the truth about who Jack really was comes out, and when the bullies realize the consequences waiting for them, real panic is about to begin. If you believe in justice, in standing up for the helpless, and in stories where bullies finally face the cost of their actions, make sure you subscribe to this channel right now. Your support helps us bring more powerful emotional stories like this to life. Don't miss Chapter 2, because what happens next will leave you stunned.